Good evening, class. My name is Charles Brown, and in this lesson, this brief lesson, we're going to learn about Cisco switches and how to log in, check the running configuration, change the host name, and set the enable password to protect the system. So let's dig right in. First thing you need to know is you need a program to actually access the configuration. I use PuTTY, as you can see here on the screen. And if you can see on the back, I've already got logged in, but I wanted to show you the PuTTY configuration. You would choose a console cable and you choose serial port. When you hit open, this screen behind you would come up. So I'm just going to press cancel. From here, you would hit return. And as you can see in the bottom left, you see switch. That's the name of the switch. You're in a basic configuration. You cannot do anything other than the enable mode at this point. So the first thing we want to do is type in enable. This will get into the enable mode, and as you can tell, it goes from switch greater than to switch hashtag, and that now you're actually can perform some administrative task. So what we want to do, the first thing we want to do is check the running configuration just to see if there's anything on the switch. So we go show running -config. I got to be typed in here. And as you can see, it didn't type out, but it was there. And you hit return, and you see the switch. There's nothing set up on it, nothing. So the command again was show running -config, just like that. So now that we know there's nothing on the switch, so we want to make sure that we can protect the switch. So the first thing we want to do is to change the name of the switch to identify it, and then to create an enable password, so to protect it. To do that, we need to get into the configure terminal mode. That command is conf config t. That stands for configure terminal. Hit enter. You go into this mode here, as you can tell by the little config portion right here. Now, to change the host name of the switch, you type in host name, and then whatever you want to name it. So in this case, I'm going to say Charlie switch. And if we hit enter, the switch on the left changes to Charlie switch. You have changed the host name on the config, on the switch. Next thing we need to do is protect the enable password to be able to protect the switch so no one can just inadvertently log in and do a bunch of changes on your network. So that command is enable password, if I can spell it right, password. And it can be any password. For simplicity, I'm going to choose the word Cisco all lowercase. Then we protect that password with enable secret, which this encrypts it. And I will type in the word class. You've actually created your password now in your enable password. So what we're going to do is we are going to also go ahead and set up your configuration on your other ports to your line con and your virtual port. So that would be line con 0, console port. We're going to do the same thing as we did for the enable. Password Cisco, and type login. So that password has to be, you're going to prompt it at login. So same thing with the other one, line VTY 0 through 15. There are 16 actual VTY virtual ports. And you do the same thing, password Cisco. And again, Cisco is what I'm using now. It really can be any password you want. And then we're going to do login, so it forces someone who logs into the virtual ports to type in the password as well. So now you're set. To get out of this part of the login screen, for the configuration screen, you type in the word exit. Now you're in configuration. Well, we need to get all the way out. So we're going to do exit again. And now you're at the enable screen. Notice the hashtag. From here, we want to see if what we've done is in the configuration. So what you do is you type in show running -config. And this will show the configuration. As we can tell by here, the host name Charlie switch. It took that. Here's your enable password Cisco with the secret. Secret encrypts it, as I mentioned. You can't read it. Got all the other stuff that was already there. The ports are configured in a different lesson. We'll handle that later. And as you can tell down here, the console and the virtual ports have the password set and log in. You can't get to this information until you log in anyway, so it's protected. So, and what we want to do, the last step would be to write this running config to your startup so that when the computer gets restarted, you haven't lost anything and it's going to be running what you have currently. So to do that, you type in copy running, if I can spell it again, running-config space startup, spell it, startup-config. And you hit enter. Destination startup config. Yep, and it's built. So if you type in, at this point, if you restarted your switch, the configuration saved and everything you've got will be there. It's important to make sure that you perform the copy on a regular basis as you make configuration changes. But there are benefits to not doing it and being able to test it before you copy. But we'll cover that in a different lesson. Hope you enjoyed this initial switch configuration lesson, and come back for more. Have a good night.